Okay guys, it is March 12th, 2021, and we are cutting up our jumbo pink banana squash that we grew from seed last year. Seeds with this were from Baker Creek. Fan off. Hopefully you can hear me now. Seeds from this were from Baker Creek, and this is a... almost said capsicum. No, that's the wrong one. This is a C. maxima type of squash, which means it smells like a banana. It smells like a cucumber when you cut it open, which is always fun. I'm using a knife that's probably not fit for this, but I'm going to try to cut it in half lengthwise without chopping any seeds up.
We haven't been able to cook this until now because our oven didn't work, but now we have a new one. So, yeah.
You can hopefully hear the crispy, crunchy noises. Okay, not going very straight, but that was okay. You can see, hopefully you can see the bright orange color that it has, and it's got a little blue/green leaf or blossom scar on the end there. And before it's all in half, you can hopefully see the stripes. This is just a regular pink banana squash. So our other one didn't have these awesome stripes, but that one was also growing in the middle of a patch of milkweed, so it's got a lot of little scars covering it. But we're specifically going to be saving seeds from this and noting that they're stripy so that we can maybe get some that have all stripes all of the time, because that's just fun. You might want to back up so I don't hit you in the face with my elbow. Yeah.
I was petting Alex.
Always be careful when you are trying to cut pumpkins. Some of them slice through like it's hot butter, which is always surprising. And most of the time it's like this, where you feel like you're going to break the knife before you actually cut through the squash. So use a sharp knife and don't stab yourself. And always don't like have your fingers near the knife, because I see so many freaking cooking videos where people look like they're about to chop their finger off. Yeah, if you are used to grocery shopping for your winter squash instead of growing them, if you shop at places like Giant, which usually carry more varieties than places like Walmart do, C. maxima squash, you would probably more know
Say the entire
as,
name.
I don't remember what it is off the top of my head right now. Curcubita, maybe. I don't know how you say it. I keep thinking of pepper. I have ADHD, if it's not obvious, so. Yeah, this is very much not straight, but it means we can maybe open it like a butterfly. Listen to that crunch. Oh. And now we have all of these seeds, except for that one I just cut in half. Every single one of these is going to be washed and saved.
Put your just hand across it. That's how big this is.
Mm-hmm. It smells so much like a cucumber, guys. It is hilarious. Nobody ever mentions that when they're talking about cooking winter squash, specifically the maxima type. Everybody always cooks acorn squash and spaghetti squash, but they never cook these, and when they do, they never mention the distinct smell, which is always fun. You gotta narrate something.
We're filling a mixing bowl with cold water so that we can separate the seeds and clean them before we dry them or plant them.
Yep. Like that. My hands have been washed, but most of the time, even with these guys, you can just come in with your fingers and just scoop them out. Nice and neat like this. They usually come right out, which is a nice thing about the maxima types compared to things like jack-o'-lanterns, which are the You see, I have peppers on the brain, so I was about to say there, capsicum annum. That is not squash. That's peppers.
Whatever the stripy things are. That was terrible.
Oh no, we lost a seed. Yeah, I don't remember whether I'm having peppers on the brain, so I keep wanting to say capsicum annum. But if you're used to jack-o'-lanterns and seeds being impossible to get out of the guts, it's not even close to how easy it is with these guys. You just take your hands in and scrape a little bit, and the guts are edible, for the record. If you want to get really fancy next time you're cooking up a winter squash, reserve the guts from like an acorn or whatever, stick them on a shallow baking pan with some cinnamon sugar and bake them until they start to caramelize. Like literally, there's already a few dozen seeds in there, if not a few.
It's way more than that.
Okay, and that's how easy that was. All of the seeds are out of here already. That's just one side. Now for the other. Do we need to chop the stem off before we bake it?
I can use my wooden spoon as demonstration. Since people might not want to stick their hands in there.
Okay.
And you can also use a wooden or plastic spoon for this if you don't want to get your hands dirty.
Although pumpkin is apparently good for your skin, so.
Yeah, apparently. It does seem to get off black walnut stain, which we found out one year, so that's fun. Maybe it's just because it dyes your hands orange instead of brown.
Yeah, look at this all coming off in one piece, and then they'll get separated from the guts over there. But fun fact, whenever you're buying pumpkin seeds from the store that are roasted, and you ever wondered why they don't look like pumpkin seeds when you're carving jack-o'-lanterns, is because they're using the Maxima varieties instead of the, Pepo. I say Pepo.
It looks like the Lakota squash.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me really want to eat the seeds when I'm taking them out of the pumpkin.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you ever wondered why store-bought roasted pumpkin seeds don't look like jack-o'-lantern seeds, it's because they're using Maxima varieties instead of Pepos. I really want to know what kind they're using, but I can only assume it's the ones that they use when they're making canned pumpkin, because, well, most of them are butternut types, which is the mochata. They use a mix of them, no matter what. So, yeah, I want to know what kind they're specifically farming for seeds, because that would be fun. Just going to stir that around a little bit. It's cold.
Here's the inside of the seed that got cut in half, if the camera focuses, which it might not.
Here's how easy it is to get it out of the guts. Just squeeze a little bit on the membrane and dunk them back in the water. Stick your pumpkin guts somewhere to either roast them. They'll have a little bit of a different texture, or obviously you should be composting everything, even if it's just chucking it in a corner of your yard in a planter. Because you might as well get free compost and free
nutrients.
Uh-huh.
And pumpkin seeds are supposed to float like that. It doesn't mean they're dead. You don't need to be alarmed.
Yep. Anytime you want to save pumpkin seeds, all you gotta do is, obviously, separate them from the guts. Give them a quick rinse in the sink, and then what we literally do is just stick them on a paper plate, and however many plates takes up a single layer, and then just set them up in a cupboard with a fan pointed at it if we have one handy. Oop, I missed a few. Make sure you have a fan pointed at one if you have it somewhere. Make sure they're not going to get too hot or damp or anything like that, and then just let them sit up there for a few weeks or until they are completely dry. And then even when you're sure that they're dry, I would let them sit a little bit longer than that.
Most pumpkin seeds, you can tell when they're dry because they will have a papery, plasticky, clear coating that comes off. It doesn't work for all of them, but it's for most of them. But yeah, you can't just dry them for 2 days and then stick them somewhere because they are not dry. Just because they're dry to the touch doesn't mean they're dry all the way through.
Yep, you have mold issues and other things. So yeah, if you ever want to buy pumpkin seeds, you don't need a whole lot of them to buy, because even if you just get one single fruit to get to maturity out of one single plant, you will literally have enough seeds. This all came from a single seed, and multiple fruit came off of this plant. And the only reason we only have 2 mature ones is because we accidentally knocked 2 of them down because they decided they were going to grow mid-air between our trellis and our porch.
Like literally 10 feet in the air.
Yep.
Because they thought that would be smart.
So yeah, another thing about Maximas is they like to climb. So if you have somewhere that you have a trellis they can climb up, feel free to let them do so. But
you can also plant sunflowers or corn near them and they'll climb that. And they will also climb, which we found out this year, common milkweed.
Yep.
Which you wouldn't think would be strong enough to hold them up, but yeah, it is, because it was holding this thing up for months.
Until we finally put up a clothesline to hold it up properly so it wouldn't knock everything down, because I don't remember if we weighed these or not, but they weigh a solid probably 20 pounds at least. And look at that, that's already most of the guts are gone, and all the seeds are mostly separated. We're going to give them a rinse in a strainer after this.
My fancy colander.
And then we're going to be baking the squash itself in the oven at 400 degrees. Don't really know how long it's going to actually bake for, but we're going to start at half an hour and work our way up from there.
I'm grabbing the colander. Maybe the phone will stand up, right?
No, probably not.
It'll probably fall.
Nope.
It's staying.
Yeah, but you can't really see anything.
Well, it's only for 5 seconds.
We don't currently have a video editing software, so if this part's boring, feel free to skip ahead until you see us doing something else.
You have cantaloupe in this. Thanks.
Oops. Yep, that's already all the guts out of there. So we'll be giving these a quick rinse. Here's another close-up of the seeds. But yeah, a single seed produced at least 5 or so squash. 3 of ones did not make it to maturity because they were picked too early. And we now have probably a few hundred seeds just from one of the squash that we have. And we have another one in there that's probably even bigger than this. But I wanted to cook this one first and get the seeds out of this one first because it has the pretty stripes instead of being more the traditional dull pink that the jumbo pink bananas are known for, where they get their name from. So that way warm my fingers up in the sink quick, and we'll go back to putting the squash into the oven. Feel free to skip ahead past this part because we don't have any video editing software at the moment. But while we are getting the coriander ready, I have some leeks that I am regrowing in water from the store. And I am very curious, does anybody know what on earth is happening with this leek? It seems to be turning itself inside out at the roots, or possibly just, I don't even know what to call that. That's the first time I've seen a leek do that when I've sprouted it back in water. So if anybody knows what that is, super fun to see, and let me know. Okay. So here we have the guts that we have collected. Haven't decided if I'm going to cook them or not. I will maybe just compost them. I haven't decided yet.
For cleaning the seeds off, you can use a normal wire strainer, but it's best if you have a colander with larger holes like this. They're usually the old-fashioned kind. You can probably find them at Goodwill or other fancy places. And then you just, as long as the holes are smaller than the seeds, you should be fine. And then just pour them in. I stuck a foil cake tray in here so that we can catch all the water, because you might as well use it to water your plants because it's free nutrients and stuff. With the bigger holes, the guts that are still stuck to them can fall through instead of just getting stuck on them. Let me lift this out.
You can set it back in the bowl.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll take... Or at least I'll put this on the floor so that we can water our plants with it.
So yeah, be careful if you're doing a foil cake pan and make sure it's a sturdy one.
This thing's meant for turkeys, so don't drink it, Alex.
And this is how many seeds there are. Haven't even been rinsed yet.
Make sure it's cold water, not hot water. You don't want to cook them if you're trying to save them. And then just swirl it around. These ones are mostly clean now, as you can, well, except for that piece, but that's easy enough to take out. And even if they aren't perfectly 100% clean, as long as you have them somewhere they can dry with lots of good airflow. We use paper plates, but you can use newspaper, brown paper bags. As long as it's not plastic, as long as it's paper, which absorbs and dries, you will be fine. Just make sure you label the seeds, especially with pumpkins and cantaloupes and cucumbers. All of the seeds look the same. Just because you think you will remember them doesn't mean you will. And you want to know what you're planting, so label them. And make sure everybody else knows to label theirs. Okay, these are good enough to go on a paper plate now, so my hand's frozen. Hello, pretty kitty.
Here's the HD with the bad phone camera.
What
Better
am I
than
calling
me.
this? Stripey banana.
Indeed. Striped pink banana. Hey Alex, you want to say hi to YouTube? He says no. Wait,
Oh, he's looking.
hi Alex. This is Mr. Alex. He's been hogging, trying to get our attention the entire time we've been in the kitchen. You should let him sit in the strainer for a while and to drain more.
Yeah, this one's crooked, so it's weird.
Yep, whenever you have a chance when you're saving seeds, just let them sit in the strainer for a little bit to drain all the excess water off that's possible. You can see all the water dripping out of here already. Before you put them on the plate, that way it has a better chance to dry. Stir them around a little bit and we'll just let them sit in the sink like that for a while, stirring occasionally. And then back over here with the squash. I don't know if I need to take the stem off. Yeah, that's pretty dry and crunchy. So I'm going to take the stem off just because I don't know if that's a fire hazard or not. Most of it's off there. You can see how it's hollow, and one of the defining features of Maxima squash
Hold on, it's not focused. Okay.
one of the defining features that you can use to identify different types of squash is that Maxima will have all of these little crinkly lines, whereas if you're used to regular jack-o'-lantern pumpkins and all that, they'll usually be pretty smooth. But these guys usually have all these little ridges and stripes on them, and they won't be like round. It'll be multi-sided, as you can see there. Okay. Here's a clearer picture of the blossom scar if you want to see that, and the pretty colors there. I think we have some blue ones. Seeds, blue. I don't remember what variety it actually is, but we have seeds upstairs for the Gete Okusumen, which is the ancient cave squash, which no, that's a lie, it's just a marketing gimmick, but it is still really pretty. We have seeds for the jumbo pink banana, which this is, Gete Okusumen, which is the ancient cave squash. We don't have any Dalsto cucumber, which are the ones that stay green the entire time and turn dark green, and as the name implies, they look like a cucumber, and when you cut them open, they smell like a cucumber. So whoever named that was having fun with that. And then there's also a blue variety whose name I do not remember. We may or may not have seeds for that as well, because I want to breed squash. I don't want to bleed squash. Why is Ronnie in the plant room? Or the cat's in the plant room, which is supposed to be cordoned off so that they cannot eat all of our plants that we have inside overwintering. But yes, I'm going to be breeding different types of squash, including hopefully making my own land race that will be resistant to squash vine borers, because they come in every June and kill all my plants. So,
And that's why we're planting some sacrificial ones this year that are literally just for them.
anyways, for roasting this, I'm not even going to do anything fancy with it. It's just going to go in for half an hour like this. I'm going to put a little bit of oil on it. Actually,
I thought you did it upside down.
I think you can do it both ways. Well, yeah. We'll start upside down and then I guess we'll flip it.
You should cut it in half because this end, that way they can be kind of squished a bit. That works. Okay. That one's still hanging off. So just cut off that chunk and then stick it next to it.
Okay.
No. Hold that. So that it's in this part. Make sure your pumpkin fits in the tray, unlike what she was doing.
Actually, leave that part off because I want to eat it.
Raw?
Yep. You can
Okay.
eat winter squash raw, for the record. It kind of tastes like a carrot. So
Okay.
it smells like a cucumber, tastes like a carrot, and when you cook it, it kind of tastes like a sweet potato. Okay, where are the oven mitts? We're going to be sticking these guys in the oven. And we're going to start at half an hour and see where it goes from there. I may or may not flip them halfway through. We will find out. No, hold on.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're gonna have to, unless they'll fit in lengthwise.
Don't ask me what the top and bottom racks mean kitchen-wise. We just always put them on whichever one's easiest to reach. So we're going to be sitting these in for half an hour, and we will see how it goes.
Is that it?
Yep.
Okay, bye. We'll add another video when they're done.